What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls. Hey, stop. That's not how we're going to start this one off because I dropped a video earlier today previewing this game, and the Raptors fans decided to show up and talking a lot. You know what? We'll just put it on screen. Well, how do you like those apples?
Barnes cuts off Levine. DeRozan spins by OG. Drought continues here. And just one field goal and another turnover to take care of the ball. And a bucket.
What's going on? So the Bulls had a very tight game. As much as I was being silly in the intro there, a very close game. The Bulls did go up by 20 at one point, and it looked like they were going to run away with it. Unfortunately, the Raptors did come back. It was a scrappy game all second half, and they looked like even all the way through that through the end of the fourth quarter, like the Raptors were going to go on a run to possibly take this game back. And so, these type of wins are good for a few different reasons. Yes, the Toronto Raptors were a great test, and they're going to continue to be over the course of the whole season. Even though we had that big lead at one point, it always felt like the Raptors were a step away. But the thing is that seeing the Bulls compete at this level, seeing the Bulls again have another close game, be able to pull it out, it's just going to continue to teach them how to win. And even having that big lead at one point is promising because at least they were able to do that. The Raptors never had a lead of that magnitude in the game, and so really seeing the Bulls be able to do that, it shows that when they're doing a lot of the things right, that they can really play with any team in this league now. Even you know they got sloppy, and they didn't have a lot of turnovers. I'm gonna pull up the stats, but um the Bulls only had, well, they had 12 turnovers, but I believe they only had like 4 or 5 going into the half, and that like really they blew that out the water. And it was just sloppy basketball, and it really seemed like the Raptors were especially getting in their head in that fourth quarter. The Bulls were probably playing tense, wanting to make sure that they didn't lose a game where they had a big lead like that. All those things going into it that you could tell, right? Also, yes, looking at the box score, it seemed like everybody had a pretty solid night. DeRozan with 26, Levine with 22, Lonzo Ball again with 15 and 5 assists, and then even Vucevic had a pretty solid game with 17 points and 8 rebounds, 3 steals and 1 turnover. He was plus 14 in the plus minus. I think he had the highest plus minus at that of any player on this team, even though he didn't score the most. And so, but it was just some bonehead things in the fourth quarter. At one point, them not being able to inbound the ball, and it was turned into easy steal and dunk on the other end. Vooch and Ball just for some reason weren't communicating correctly on the inbound. I would have almost rather have Vooch in there inbounding the ball rather than Ball there, just because Vooch has that height and he's a pretty solid passer as well. But hindsight, whatever. And just honestly, and I know I trolled the Raptors fans at the beginning of this just because of the shit that they wanted to talk, but this was a solid game, and almost every point that I pointed out in my preview video are things that I wanted to see did not happen. But outside of that, it's good to see the Bulls continue to win. It's good to see the bench as well. When the Bulls did go on that run of the lead, Troy Brown was playing very, very solid for us. Caruso as well. That kind of all came crashing down. Like I said, and this was the game that Levine didn't really take over. It never really felt like he was going to either. I mean, he didn't have a terrible night. 3 for 7 from three, 7 from 16 overall in the field. It was a solid win, and one of those wins that you like to see your team pull out if your team's on the winning side of that. It's just a tough game. This is the closest thing, right? And I want to make sure that there's a very big difference, but the closest thing to like even a playoff atmosphere that we've had. The Toronto Raptors fans were loud for them. I don't know how much that took the Bulls. I don't know how much that really plays in when you have a team full of veterans, but it just it good. And those Toronto Raptors fans, if it didn't do nothing but prove in the last comments of my videos that they love their team, and so very much the same as our fan base. It just, and the Toronto Raptors have a really, really solid team. Every starter scored double digits on their side of the ball. It's just Anunoby is a monster. Like, he's a monster in the making. And it's gonna be interesting to see once these teams are both fully healthy. If they are when they play later on, just to see what turns out. But we're gearing up for the Knicks, gearing up for the Knicks game. And I tell you what, I don't think we can play the way that we played tonight and come out with a win outside of New York. So the Bulls need to really pick that up, because you don't want to have this type of game against the Knicks. You don't. And they've had a couple of games like this now, and they you stop calling it luck when it's something that continually happens, and you just realize that it is part of the skills, just a flaw of this team, that they may play games a little bit tighter than what they should. So a lot of those type of things to pull out of this game. Again, Patrick Williams, just as a kind of a key point, didn't really do too much. He had a stretch there, but he had moments, but didn't do too much in this game. But DeMar DeRozan, especially when the Bulls couldn't buy a bucket and the Toronto Raptors were marching back, he kind of took over this game for a while and got it back on the right course. And that's what DeMar is here. DeMar is here to do those type of things. He hasn't failed once yet since he's supposed to be doing. Yeah, I'm not saying he's been the perfect player or anything like that, but he has not failed in the role that we brought him in for since he came here this season so far. We're 4 games down, 4 wins. Big game coming up Thursday against New York. I'll talk to you guys in between now and then, but let me know how you guys felt about this game. Let me know what was your favorite moment of the game down below, and make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff. But for now, I got to end this show like I end every show. Go Bulls. I love you guys. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.